A customer sent in a Synology DS1511 Plus, and when I power it on, I get very quickly a little flash, and then it turns back off, and then on and off and on and off and on and off. So I don't know if you can tell here. The lights just flash really quickly, and then right back off. So let's go ahead and open it up and find out what's going on. It's a little harder to tell on camera, but this unit is extremely dusty, so we're gonna go ahead and clean it up before we start. Okay, during the cleaning, I actually ended up looking through here and noticing a couple capacitors were bulging. So let's take a closer look under the microscope. So we're just looking through the vents right here, and that capacitor, it's kind of hard to tell at this angle, but it is bulging. So my first check is going to be to open up the power supply and take a closer look inside. All right, now that we've removed the cover, so I just want to point out a couple of things. So this capacitor, we can tell here has a pretty flat surface, but if we take a look at this one over here, it's a little bit rounded out, it's bulging. If I look at it at an angle, you can kind of tell a little bit better. And then same with this one right over here. Let me zoom in on that one. Same thing, it's a little rounded out at the top, so it's bulging. If we look at it from an angle, it's a little easier to tell. So we're gonna have to replace both of these capacitors, and then we'll see what we get. All right, so our first capacitor is right over here. We have one leg here and one leg right over here. I'm gonna start by adding a little bit of solder. And we're going to do the same to the other joint. Now what I'm going to try to do is, with my other hand, as I'm melting the solder, I'm going to try and wiggle out that capacitor from the top. All right, there we go. So this is our capacitor. It is a 10 volt 3300 microfarad, which I have a brand new replacement for right here. So in order to replace it, we're going to have to clean up those joints. So what I'm going to do is use our desolder wick here. Okay, and one of the things I'm going to do here is, actually we're swapping out our soldering tip with a larger one to help get a little bit more heat into the system. Let's give that another try. Alright, that one worked. But we're still having a little bit of problem with that first one over here. There we go, perfect. Alright, now we can go ahead and feed our replacement through. Alright, and so we'll do negative with negative. It's kind of hard to aim the legs. There we go. Alright, and we'll give that a quick little clean. Just want to get rid of some of that extra flux. Now let's go ahead and hunt down this little guy over here. All right, and I believe it's this one right here. So we have one pin right over here and one pin right over here. So this time around, I'm going to do a little bit of a different technique. I'm going to start by adding some solder first. And we're going to desolder it, or we're going to try to desolder it with the desolder wick before we actually wiggle out the capacitor. And the reason for that is because that one is not as tall, and I'm going to have a really hard time getting my fingers in there to grab onto it and remove it. Alright, does not look like that's going to happen. So let's do this. Let's actually add just a little bit of solder back on. Add a little back to that resistor because it looks like we were desoldering it a little bit. Same with this one here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try one more time right here. I didn't quite do it. Alright, so the answer is unfortunately going to have to be, I need to do this off camera and use my needle nose to grab it. So you guys unfortunately won't be able to see this. We have our holes. I have my component out. This one is a 2200 microfarad 10 volts, and I have a new one right here. Unfortunately, the only size I have is about twice as wide as my original, so we're gonna have to try and fit it in there. This is where we're going. Okay, now we can go ahead and solder it in. We're gonna make sure all of our components in the surrounding area have enough solder, since I did desolder a lot. Let's clip off the excess of the capacitor, and we can go ahead and clean that up and power it on and see what we get. I've reinstalled the power supply back into the system, so now let's go ahead and plug it in and hopefully nothing explodes. Hey, okay, so our blue light is flashing continuously. Our fans in the back are spinning, and our motherboard fan is also spinning. So let's go ahead and wait just a couple of minutes, make sure that everything boots in correctly, and then we'll check back in and make sure it connects to the network as well. So there's actually one last step I forgot about, and that is the replacement of the CMOS battery. So I always want to replace it because these units are so old that if I don't, it is probably going to fail very soon after. So these batteries typically have a 5 to 8 year lifespan, and that is just about where we're at with this unit, I believe. So let's do a quick little check. And I have 2.4 volts. And on my new one, 3.24. So it is 2.4 volts, which, I mean, that's low enough that I would deem that to be bad. So we'll just go ahead and replace it. Even if it was good, I was gonna replace it anyways. Just because while we're still, we're here, might as well do it. And now that completes our repair. All right, so we have our status light, our LAN light is on, our power light is on. It's no longer cycling on and off. And if we take a look over here on my screen, we are detecting it, model DS1511 Plus. So we're all set there. And if we double click it, and no hard disk found, and of course we don't have any of the disks plugged in, but we're not gonna do that. So that does complete our repair of the DS1511 Plus. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments below. If you have a similar unit that you'd like to send in for repair, we'll also have a link for our flat rate repair service, which comes with a 1-year warranty. That'll be in the description down below, as well as in the pinned comments. If you like the video, make sure to leave us a like and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching.